So David, tell me about your book. What's it about?
Well, it's about Blackstone, the Moby Dick of the private equity industry. It's the biggest fish in the industry, and we wanted to capture it in print and explain how it grew.
How do you explain their success?
Their investment style is probably a key to the success, but I think another key is Steve Schwarzman. He's unusually conservative, actually unusually risk-averse for a successful entrepreneur and investor. This was a visceral thing, like a primal impulse not to lose money. And I think that has kept Blackstone from stumbling into a lot of the bad deals that other firms have gotten into at times.
Do you think he's at all conscious of his public persona? Because, I mean, there was that famous article in the Wall Street Journal about the snow crabs, which seemed to cause him some harm, and his lavish birthday party with Rod Stewart and whatnot.
Well, it certainly kind of backfired on Blackstone because the birthday party did. Because, you know, while you can justify it by saying a guy worth $8 billion, you know, it's really not that big a deal to spend $3 million of the $8 billion on a birthday party, but it was happening while Congress was looking for ways to raise revenue. And of course, this display of conspicuous consumption caught the eye of certain people in Congress and helped foster a move towards taxing carried interest at a higher rate, which is how, you know, it's a major source of revenue at Blackstone. So that was very bad PR, and in retrospect, I think Steve recognizes that. He has a talent for verbal whoppers, too. He recently compared Obama's financial reform agenda to Hitler's invading Poland. And, you know, I'm not a shrink. I can't account for comments of that ilk, but, you know, I will say this about him. He is a very unvarnished character. He speaks his mind. There's really not a disingenuous bone in his body. And one thing about going public, though, is that he leaves much of the talking and interface with the shareholders and investors to Tony James, who is a rather smoother talking character than Steve. So that's probably a good thing.